Over the phone, you don't have body language. So 90% of the meaning of the word and the language comes from the tone. See how scripts make me sound robotic. No, a script doesn't sound anything. A script's on a piece of paper. You sound robotic. No one watches Taylor Swift's concert right now and goes, ugh, I could tell that was scripted. No, it's our job to make the script come alive. Yeah. That's what we are here for. So instead of asking, does that make sense? You're asking, so how would you set this up? What data would you want on this dashboard? Where would you prioritize this? Which team would you put on this first?
This has always surprised me a little bit, but apparently 72% of you who regularly watch the show haven't subscribed yet. So before we get into the episode, if I could ask you a quick favor, if you've been enjoying these podcasts and want to support us, a free, simple way to do that is to subscribe. It's really going to help, especially because I just left my W-2 corporate job to go all in on building this dream. And if you guys subscribe, my commitment to you is to make every week's episode more and more valuable, to take in your feedback and actually listen and bring on the guests you want me to bring on, and to give you everything I got. This is my dream. I'm all in, and I appreciate you growing with me on the journey. With that, enjoy the episode. Katie, so good to meet you finally. It took a while to wrangle you in.
Hey.
Thank you for being here, man.
I appreciate the invite and I appreciate the patience. You know, sometimes things pop up. So we made it happen though. So here we are. Let's do this.
So isn't delayed gratification a key quality that's important in sales and in life?
So funny enough, yes, it is. Like, and that's where
that's how this happened, baby.
It is. You stay with it and you stay with it and you stay with it. And that's what makes it mean even more at the end, you know, but you don't want to delay gratification forever, which is actually, we'll probably get into this.
Oh, maybe we should now, by the way, but go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of sellers, we always move the goalposts. We close a deal, it's on to the next deal. We hit quota, it's to the next quota. We hit Prez Club, we want the next one. We make 100K, we want 200. We hit 200, we want 300. And we always delay, I'll say, the gratification of truly being happy or feeling successful. It actually works the other way, right? Being happy, being successful, being confident in yourself is what leads to the income coming. Whereas if you chase it to be happy, it doesn't. I'll tell y'all right now, it doesn't, right? You have to be happy first. Then the other things happen throughout all of it. So just sellers, we're really bad at that because we always delay the gratification. We never take the time to be like, damn, did a good job. Like, I'm doing pretty damn good right now. Like, we never take the time to do that, which is a shame.
Guys, pat yourself on the back. Appreciate where you're at. You're doing a good job. And now this conversation is going to take you to another level, though. So I saw a quote on your LinkedIn profile. It was something to the tune of, a formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. Jim Rohn, what a speaker, man. Right. So can you walk us through what this means to you?
I mean, it means everything. I'm not sitting in this chair if it's not for the self-education I've done over the years. If we were recording this in my home office, you would see 200 some books behind me in my home office. I've got 300 some books on my Kindle, another 200 some books on my Audible. I have paid tens of thousands of dollars for courses and content, multiple tens of thousands of dollars to work with coaches. Like, all that happened outside of school. All of that happened outside of school. Like, I'm a college dropout. I dropped out 15 credits short of graduating because I was in a degree that I knew I was never going to use.
Wow.
Right. So
what was your degree, by the way?
Kinesiology.
Okay. I was going to ask you about that, by the way, because, like, yeah, I was curious if that you did use it at all, but you're saying you never did?
No, like the only thing I got from that degree, or I guess that process, was like psychology. Like, it got me into psychology. Those were my favorite courses, like understand like how this works and how our brain works. Like, that was fun, but no, everything actually really started after college, right? And I'm still reading, I'm still learning. I talk about this with my own team and companies that I talk to. Is like, is there any reason why I'm reading more sales books than you? And you're a seller. Like, you're still selling. Like, this is your world. Yet I'm out reading you. I'm out learning you still. I have a few mentees. Actually, I have a lot of mentees. Yeah. But they're talking like, oh, I'm going to catch you someday. I was like, no, you won't. You'll never catch me because I refuse to stop learning. The only way you could possibly catch me is if I stop improving as a leader, as an individual. So the moment I stop, you can catch me, but you can't catch me if I'm still learning and improving. Like, that's never going to happen.
You keep learning and improving, no one's going to catch you, man. So, guys, you can try and catch KD, but, and you know what, try and catch him because you'll go further, but you won't catch him. Yeah. So Katie, how do we practically implement a continual learning habit? Like, you read hundreds of books. You know, we're doing full-time jobs, or our full-time job is trying to break into tech sales and get a job. How do you fit that in from like practically into your weekly and daily routine?
I mean, it's far simpler than I think people give it credit for. I think the stats now says the average American watches anywhere from, I think it was like 6 to 9 hours of TV a week, spends an average of 90 minutes per day on social media. So right there is already 2.5 to 3 hours a day that people are using not developing themselves. I don't watch TV. Outside of LinkedIn, I don't have social media, right? So to read 15 pages a day, you will finish a book and a half minimum per month. 15 pages a day. That's 450 pages a month. You're finishing a book and a half every single month. So by the end of the year, you've already done 20 some books. You do that for 1 year, you're at 20 books. 2 years, you're at 40. 3 years, you're at like all of us. Like, tell me you read 60 books on psychology, sales, mindset, behavior, goals, self-development in 3 years. Tell me you read 60, you're not a different person in 3 years.
Let's go.
3 years. So just first of all, just fit it in. 15 pages a day. 15 pages a day is quite literally all it takes. But then hopefully, and some of y'all it will, some of it'll trigger something where, like, when you really start to learn, you're like, that becomes an obsession. Of like, oh my God, like, I'm learning, like, I'm getting better. So there's the learning. And then I'll say the second part of it is the practice and application, which I'm sure we'll get into, because you also can't just read. And I know people that they just read to say they read. Oh, I read 52 books this year. I'm like, cool story, bro. Like, did you do anything?
Yeah.
At all with it? So then there's the practice and implementation of it. That is part 2, but it's just blocking the time, any of y'all, like, I challenge you, look at your screen time, pull up your phone, look at your screen time.
Oh, mine's bad.
Look at your screen time. What's on there, right? If you see an hour of Twitter and an hour of Instagram and an hour of TikTok per day, you could have read 400 pages, like, in that same period of time. So it's just putting it out and obsessing over the right things. Most sellers, they say they want it, but their behaviors don't match. The behaviors don't. I saw such a great quote. It was literally just last night. Last night. It was along the lines of, if I shadowed you for a week, would I know what your goals are? And I love that quote, because people say what their goals are. People say, I want to get into tech sales. People say they want to become an AE. People say they want to make XYZ. But if I watched you for a week, could I tell what your goals were without you telling me? Because your behaviors have to match to the goal, right? So if I'm watching you and I'm like, I have no idea what they're trying to achieve. Whereas if I'm watching a seller and after work, they're reading 40 pages of a sales book, and then they're recording themselves practicing at night in front of the mirror, and then they're setting their call list and their goals for the next day, without them telling me what their goals are, their behaviors would tell me what their goals are. And most people's behaviors and goals don't match.
Guys, match your behaviors with your goals. And I told you to take notes and translate what you learn into action. We already identified we can implement an audit of our current activities where we're on social media that we could replace with a reading habit. But we're also going to talk about practicing, as you said. But I do, before we move to practicing and implementing what we learn, taking things out of our head into reality and execution, for someone who's a blank canvas coming into the tech sales arena, what is... It could be one sales book. I mean, you've read so many, so maybe you're like, Chris, I can't just give you one. And then maybe a psychology book, and there might even be a category where, like, you should read on finance or business. So give us a couple books to dig into. Let's go.
So, all right. So we'll start with the sales side of things for sure. So Gap Selling by Keenan. Addicted to the Process by Scott Leese. Those are two very, very good ones. Shout out Scott.
Scott, we were in here, baby.
Funny enough, innovative seller, Jake Dunlap.
Yeah, Jake was in here too. But you know what's different? You're on the other side. You're on a different side right now. They're sitting here.
These are people I know, and I know very, very well. So those are great ones to start with. The Winning by Design blueprint books are also very, very good on the sales side of things. So I'd probably start there. Then if you start getting into, the psychology of thing, anything by Nick Kalenda. So Methods of Persuasion, imagine reading this book, Untangled Mind. Nick Kalenda has some of the best content around, like,
dude, I haven't read any of these, so I've got homework to do.
Like, unreal.
Okay.
So anything by Nick Kalenda would be a good one. Exactly What to Say is another really good one, just starting to get into the psychology of things. Then you move to the buyer side, and this is where most sellers never get into, is they don't study buyers. They read sales books. They don't read books about why we buy. Like, if you understand how people buy, you'll already be a better seller, right? So a really good one is called Buyology, BUY-ology. talks about consumer psychology, right? How we make decisions, why we buy the things that we buy. So that's a really, really good one there. I'd start with a lot of those, and then I'll give the self-development. Success Principles by Jack Canfield, just a must read. Train Your Brain for Success by Roger Seep is another really, really good one. Goal setting, productivity, memory, that's a phenomenal one. And then I'll always do Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. That one changed my life.
Dude, I gotta read that, man.
So you have to. You just have to.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for the actionable tips. That's a great reading list that I can execute on in the whole audience. So how about now, like, we read these books, we learn a lot, but we need to translate it into action. Can you speak to what that process has looked like for you?
Oh, man, like, you know, it's funny because people talk about sellers being like the athletes of the business.
Yeah,
world,
for sure.
You know?
I love saying that. I'm a corporate athlete.
Yeah, but they're not. They're not.
No?
They're not.
Okay.
Not even close.
Hot take.
I wish they were, right? What does an athlete do every day?
An athlete trains and executes. I think of Steph Curry, the millions of shots he shoots outside the game, Kobe getting in there so early, man. Like
every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Sellers don't practice every day.
Yeah.
They don't. In fact, most sellers put more time into their high school sport or instrument than they do their sales career.
That's crazy.
Because what sport did you play?
So I was baseball, and I was good. I was good. I did a little basketball too, but I was a sixth man on the bench. So baseball was the one.
What position?
I was center field.
Same. Love center field. I did center field and catcher. So like
you were center field? Let's go, baby. Because I was fast. Well, you know that song, Put Me In, Coach. I'm ready to play at center field.
Center field, baby.
Let's go, dude.
Right. So now, babe, what level did you get to?
I was high school. I mean, I'm going to fluff myself. I did make it to the All-Star team. I got a hit off a guy in the All-Star game who threw 90-plus miles an hour. But I did not play in college. Okay. Did you go to the next level?
I did, yes.
Dude.
So one year in college as well.
Okay.
So here's the thing, right? Baseball. What was your percentage of practice to play?
Oh, wow. What's funny is I don't know, but way more practice than play. Right. Way more.
Right. Like, yeah, it's not even close.
Way more.
Right? Way
That's actually, I love, though, that you're looking at the reality of the numbers, which I imagine as a high performer at all levels. You look at the reality of what are the numbers, percentages, etc.
Right. Your practice to play ratio is anywhere from 80, 20, 90, 10 in terms of the amount of time put into practice to play, right? Because baseball is actually a perfect example. How many at-bats do you get in a game?
Gosh, how much was it? Like sometimes a couple, three.
Like
in a good game, if we're crushing it, like maybe you're going around the horn
4 or 5 times in a game. You get,
but if we're getting shut down, it's like
4 at bats. In those 4 at bats, you will see maybe a total combined pitches in a game of 22 to 26 pitches in a game. How many pitches did you see to get ready for those 26 pitches? How many pitches in practice and off the tee and so the ratio is insane. But so like I get riled up now when people talk about the athletes of the corporate world because they don't act like it. They don't train. They don't practice. They don't review game film. They don't take care of the mental health. They don't take care of the physical health, right? We actually don't represent any of the characteristics of a high performing athlete. So if we were to apply the same things to selling, that's what it would look like. One, you would train your mindset. Right? You focus on goals. You do. I don't know if you did visualization. A lot of athletes do the visualization.
Can we talk about that a little bit? Because I'm going to probe in a few of these are nuggets. Yeah. But visualization, what does that look like for you?
Right. So visualization is picturing what it is you are trying to achieve.
Yes.
Right. But the science of visualization is actually very interesting. Is like you have to do both sides of it. You have to visualize the good. Right. Okay. Like you see yourself. I mean, how many times did you visualize like a walk-off home run?
Oh yeah.
Right?
And dude, by the way, I did hit a walk-off grand slam senior year. Oh, dude, I'm revisiting that right now. It was amazing.
Goosebumps,
and I have to say with visualization, man, one of my greatest things was career-wise. I was at Oracle in Boston. I wanted to work at Google Cloud in Austin, Texas. I eventually got the job, but we hit a hiring freeze for 6 months. But I will say visualization played a part. I had a piece of paper on why Google and why Austin I read every day. And I also pictured myself in the downtown West 2nd office. I didn't realize I'd be on floor 27, but up in the skyrise, like seeing commission hit my bank account and with my friends. And so I actually literally visualized it in addition to my why.
Right.
And it happened.
Right. That needs to be happening in selling.
Yeah.
Right. So you visualize what you're trying to achieve, but also it's very important to visualize the struggle and bounce back. So one of the things that they've
never
shown,
did that, man.
So one of the things that they've shown is like, if you only visualize the good, you're priming your brain for the good, but you're not preparing it for the reality, right? So our brains don't know the difference. So you've been picturing that high rise, pressing the button, 27, walking in.
Dude, I like the press the button detail there.
What you haven't pictured was like getting that auto rejection email.
Yeah.
Right. And you get that, but if you picture that, but then how you'd respond to it, right? You see yourself getting that rejection, then you see yourself taking that breath, and you see yourself going, no, I'm not done with this yet. And you see yourself pulling up new names and new people on LinkedIn to reach out to. You see yourself reading and reaching back. That part of the visualization is important too. So sellers, same idea. Visualize booking the meeting, visualize booking, closing the deal, but also visualize, you just did get hung up on. How do you respond to that? And you're priming your brain for all of that.
That's amazing, man.
So that's a visualization.
And I have to laugh because I've been doing some live cold calling, putting on my YouTube, and I did get hung up on. And it's like, you got to bounce back. You got to be buoyant. So good example there. So, okay, what's next?
Yeah. So then we get into actually practicing.
Yeah.
Right. Like, this was before, like Bluetooth and all that, but I looked like a psychopath driving into the office because I was practicing every morning, just talking to myself, right? Preparing for the objections, preparing for the questions, just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of repetitions to get ready for it, right? To the most minute detail of like, if the not interested objection, not interested.
Let's get into it.
Right? So it sounds like not interested. Well, I mean, of course you're not interested. That's why I'm reaching out to you. Otherwise you would have called me. Does that mean you've solved this already? Of course you're not interested. If you were interested, you would have reached out to me. That's why I'm calling you. Does that mean you solved this already? I'm talking like to
you just repeated it
over and over.
By the way, awesome way to respond to that objection, guys. Take notes and apply that next time you get not interested, because you will. So boom.
But hundreds of repetitions. So it's off the tee, off the tee,
off
the tee, off the tee. So your tone is right? The openers, all of that. So I mean, that was daily. And
hey, by the way, KD, I noticed because I'm doing these live cold calls more, and at this stage of my career, 10 years in, I'm mostly like warm intros and cold email, but I'm noticing a lot of ums and ahs. I need to practice more, right? Because with practice, don't you kind of eliminate those things? No?
No.
It's still going to show up?
No, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Does not matter.
I'm glad I brought this up.
Does
Tell
not
us.
Matter.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the to me, if you think about this, was funny. I'll turn it off for now. I have a filler word. Have you caught it yet? I have a very
no, dude. I'm so into this value. I'm not even catching it.
So I'm going to turn it off. You're not going to hear it for the next 15, 20 minutes.
I love that you have that control. You're like, I'm going to turn this off.
That's practice. But I have one.
What is it?
You haven't heard it. I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
I'm going to let it ride. And then you're going to hear it. You're like,
okay.
oh, okay, that was it. Doesn't matter, right? It's the value. It's the connection. It's the tonality that you're delivering with. Ums and ahs are how we speak. There are places in the script where it literally has an and a stutter in the script.
Dude, I love that.
Because of that's how we talk. Chris, I was just on your website, and honestly, I'm not sure if this is good for you. I was hoping to ask a couple quick questions to see if it's even worth a larger convo. Like, would that be okay? Do you got a sec?
Oh, what a good tone.
Ums
hey, is a fill? I don't know.
It is, but it's not mine.
Yeah.
You're not gonna catch it until the end. Like, now it's gonna mess with you. So.
Dude, by the way, as you take that glorious sip of water, there's someone who commented on my live cold calling and said, clearly, you do not know how to sell. You're horrible at sales. You're using ahs and ums. And I'm like, dude, thank you.
It's weak. Absolutely.
And so it's like, I just said but we're at the end of the day, we're being humans and we're bringing value.
It doesn't matter. I have led probably close to 500 SDRs, 1,000 reps out in my career. You know how many deals I can point at and say, oh, we lost that because of an It's lazy leadership. It's lazy coaching.
Yeah.
Because it's not focused on the right things. There's other reasons why you're losing the deal. Now, if every time you talk like this and you're calling yes, that's a problem. But if there's likes and ums in there, no one notices, no one catches. That's not what makes a great cold call. It's the tone.
Dude. And hey, thanks for taking a weight off our shoulders that we can be real. And we can focus on role-playing and practicing and bringing value. Thank you for showing us, literally, you walked through it in line twice. And I bet you, how many times do you think on a car ride you would run through, Hundreds. And hey, Jason Bay, when he was in here, he was describing how he would be in the car role playing with himself. And so it's like the greats leave clues. There's common threads. And my question to you is, did you ever make any funny voices as the prospector? Did you ever... Did you ever get to that level where you made another voice? And this is kind of a tongue-in-cheek question, but another voice for the prospect.
So no, I didn't. And I have had people on my teams do that before.
That's just having fun.
Shout out, win-win. So, but here's the thing with me. I take this shit seriously. Yeah. This to me was not a joke. It was not a try it out. It was, this is my career. Dude. I'm not here to mess around. I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to goof off. Like, I am here to make sure I succeed at this thing. So I approached it with a tenacity, a seriousness. You couldn't talk to me before 11 a.m. when I was selling.
Yeah.
You quite literally could not talk to me because I was making my dials. I was in my little booth or my cubby. I wouldn't respond to you. I would not. I was hitting my 100 before 11 every single day. Then you could come talk to me. Then we could shoot this shit up. But this was my job, and approaching it that way, most sellers, if we're honest, don't actually take their job seriously. They don't put in what it takes to succeed in these things. They want it, but so no, I didn't do much of the goofing around. I didn't do the funny things. I got creative with my outreach. I got creative with video and with text and with social and all that type of stuff. But I got after it. Every call was a opportunity to really hone my craft, and that's what I think has led to me being here.
That's such a good riff that you just went on, that the theme is, let's take this thing seriously. So yeah, it's fun to maybe goof around with the voice, but also you didn't do that because you were just locked in. I don't even have time to goof around. And I love that you gave an example of getting in the office, not talking to anyone, and hitting 100 dials by 11. And so I will say, I got some feedback recently. I work out at a gym, Squatch Frontier Fitness. Mm-hmm. If you ever want to check it out, man, we got ice baths and stuff. It's fun. Good community there. Sure, a bunch of tech sellers. And one of my buddies says, dude, you do seem angry in the gym. And it's I don't want to talk to you. Or I can put out that vibe. And that's how I am. I'm in the zone. Yeah. And so it's kind of that thing. And then after we're in the sauna, we'll talk.
Talk it up.
And so you're in the zone. You're there to get work done. Can you just walk through a day in the life, as if when you were making calls, were you getting there first in the office, and how were you hitting 100 dials by 11? And then I do want to hit on cold calling and just a roadmap for the audience. Yep. We will get to some discovery and AE skills. We'll see what we can pack in, man. So let's go to the mindset, getting in the office. When did you get in? How did you get 100 calls plus by 11?
So yes, I was in the office at 6:30
every
day, and even to this day, that was West Coast selling. Shout out to my West Coast sellers. We had to be in the office at 6 a.m. to call the East Coast at 9 a.m. So that was just that. We just did that. Yeah, that was when we were in. So I was in early. I'm still the first one in the office to this day, even with my own team as the CRO. I'm the first ones in that office every single day.
Chief Revenue Officer, baby.
And it's been a hell of a ride to get there. So I was in early, but the difference is I had my list ready to go. So if you're gonna make it's actually very simple to do. 100 dials. 100 dials. If I have 75 names ready to go, 4 hours of dialing, that's 25 dials an hour. That is nothing. 25 dials in an hour for 4 hours. So you go 50 minutes on, 10 off. And the best way to make calls is you go in bursts of 10. So our brains don't like counting up. Our brains like counting down. Counting up is infinite. So the brain doesn't know when it's going to end. Counting down is finite. So you have momentum bias to keep going because the number is getting smaller. So you go in tens. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, break. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, break. Bursts of 10 calls, we already know that 10% of people are going to answer. So in those 10 calls, 9 of those calls took a whopping 10 minutes. 1 call I had a conversation, maybe. Next 10, next 10, next 10. But each one had a little break afterwards, shake it out, go outside for a second, flex on it, review my script, back into it. But no email, then I wasn't really using Slack, but no Slack. And by the way, y'all, I still prospect. I just heavy on video prospecting. I posted a video about this, funny enough, recording myself one Sunday, put the camera up and recorded myself, about 50 videos out in 3 hours. Just cranking away, same process. I have my list, pull up the name, who it is, pull up their LinkedIn, record the video, send, it's just that focus to go through. But having that list ready is everything, because now you're not having to think, here's who I'm calling. Most sellers don't do that.
Imagine you're like, and I've done this, man. I get in the office, I'm like, okay, I have like 10 contacts, but I need more. So now I'm going to go to this company research, go to like Zoom info, copy, paste their email and like phone number. It's like,
then you can't be, they don't answer. Then you
imagine it just destroys productivity.
No.
But dude, that you just dropped some like insight I've never heard. And I've done hundreds of these podcasts and been in the industry for 10 years, like leveraging psychology to your advantage to count down. Dude, this is, you see me lighting up. I'm like, I'm so glad the audience gets to hear this
Which is easier, making 100 dials or 10 bursts of 10? 10 bursts of 10 is so much easier, because also your bursts are going down. I have 10 bursts, 9 bursts, 8, 7, 6, 5. You see the number getting smaller. It really leverages momentum bias. Whereas when the number is going up, and we all know this, I know this, you swear you made 50 dials, then you look at the dashboard, there's 17.
Yeah. You
swear you made 50. It's because you're counting up. When you're counting down, you reset each time, but then it's one thing at a time. I'm not calling, then emailing. I'm not researching and then calling and then emailing. I've got my research done. I've got my list ready. Crank. The afternoons are for demos, for research, for prep. That's when I'm doing that work.
And you're matching your peak energy state in the morning to executing the most important thing. And you know that Brian Tracy book, Eat That Frog? You're eating the frog. And so imagine you're executing, you're counting down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I say, hello? And I pick up. Like, how do you open the cold call?
The cold call is the same opener. I have a whole program and course on this.
We're going to link that, by the way, in the description. So guys, check that out.
So very, very simple. So first, I'm taking the unspoken questions away. One of my favorite lines around persuasion is the person asking the questions controls the conversation. It's my favorite lines. What are the first 3 questions anyone has when they answer the phone from someone they didn't know? Who are you? Where are you calling from? What do you want?
Yeah.
So we have to take those questions off the table. So the first intro is, hey, Chris, this is KD from Finally. So immediately I'm just saying, hey, Chris, it's KD from Finally. Then we have to move into a justifier. So I'm assuming you've read Influence by Cialdini.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't finished it, actually. I'll admit. So I need to finish it, man.
Yeah. So read Influence, read Persuasion, read Flip the Script by Oren Clough. That's another really good one. But it's all about using a justifier. Anywhere from 3 to 4x is the likelihood of compliance. So if you ask for something with a reason, people are 3 to 4 times more likely to comply with it. So we have to give a reason why we are reaching out. But I don't do and there's some people I know I love and respect that teach this. It's not a knock on them. I just take out any of the fluff language we don't normally use in conversation. So I don't say things like, the reason for my call is. I don't say that. I don't need to say the reason for my call. I can just state the reason for my call. So the intro goes, hey, Chris, this is Katie over at Finally. Actually, I was just on your website and, I was hoping to ask a couple quick questions to see if it's even worth a larger convo. Would that be okay? Do you got a sec?
You know what? Shoot, you got a minute.
Okay, perfect. So I speak with a lot of VPs all day, and they all seem to be struggling with, the SDRs aren't picking up the phone, connect rates are dropping, pipelines getting harder. I mean, are you seeing that too right now, or did y'all get that all figured out?
Yeah, connect rates have been tough for the SDRs that we don't feel like we're getting through, and the data isn't very good.
Gotcha. Now, first of all, not alone. I hear it.
Yeah, seriously.
So on the connect rate side of things, I mean, what are you seeing? Is that something you track right now? Like, how much has it dropped?
You know what? We're not even tracking it. It's more just our reps are complaining.
Okay, so that could be a double up right there. Because one, we got to verify it. I don't know, rep to rep, sometimes they exaggerate things. But secondarily, if it's real, we can't have your SDRs only getting 2 to 3 people on the phone per week. So, I mean, if we could get them more conversations, like, how do you think that would impact, like, your team? Would morale go up or bookings go up? Like, what do you think would be the biggest impact of more convos?
That's a good point. Morale would go up. It's fun. We have fun when we all are winning. More conversations leads to more opportunities and more potential revenue. So, I mean, candidly, it will make a difference.
Well, I mean, I think this might makes sense. I mean, at least worth another convo. I mean, connect rates are tough. Team is struggling to get people on the phone. I mean, we solve that. We actually have a pretty interesting way that we get more people on the phones for your team. We'd love to show it to you. May work for you, may not, but it's at least worth taking a look at. I mean, let's get something on the calendar next week. How does Thursday or Friday look for you?
Friday's more open, in the afternoon.
Perfect. Let's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Can you do 2:30?
Let's rock 2:30. I'm going to shoot you over an invite right now. Can you accept that invite for me real quick while I got you, just so I know it didn't go to spam?
Let me see. Okay. Yeah, I see it. I just accepted.
Perfect. Okay. We are set for next Friday. I'm actually going to send you a little preamble of some of the things that we are going to cover for then. See if we can solve this for you. And, but then we're all set. Actually, real quick while I got you, by the way, how many SDRs do you have on your team right now?
We actually only have about 3, but we're planning to hire to 6 by year end.
Okay. 3 to 6. And then last question, I'll let you go. How many are they booking right now per month?
It's been rough in terms of actual qualified meetings that are leading to, like, with the right ICP. That could be an actual deal. The best rep has booked about 3, but
okay.
Some of them are really struggling and have booked like 1.
Okay. Well, hey, we're going to see if we can't help fix that for you. The connect rates will be a big part of it, but I'll let you go. Appreciate your time today, man. We'll chat next Friday.
Thanks. Looking forward to it. End scene. That's how you do it. So is there anything you would or share, stepping back and looking at what we just went through in terms of just extracting why you did what you did or insights for the audience?
For sure. So one, we'll break down the intro. So first, we're taking away the unspoken questions.
Yes.
We're just identifying ourselves. Second, we're using a justifier. So I was just on your website. I was looking at your LinkedIn, because not only is that a justifier, it's a curiosity builder. I didn't say what I saw on the website. I didn't say what I saw on the LinkedIn. I just said, hey, I was just on your LinkedIn, which builds a little bit of like, okay, like, I want to know what you found on my LinkedIn or what you found on my website, etc. So we're doing a curiosity-driven justifier.
By the way, it's like less is more. I'm really working on that, man. Because if you're too wordy in the beginning, like, or whether it's a cold call, an email, like, people are just going to move on. And so I love that you've reduced the amount of words and you piqued curiosity. So boom.
Right. So I have a curiosity-laden justifier. Then I have a permission based question. Like, I was hoping, which is a positive anchor word, I was hoping to ask a couple quick questions, minimizer, to see if it's even worth minimizer, a larger conversation, seed. Would that be okay? Do you got a sec? And that's called a layered question. Would that be okay? Do you got a sec? By saying yes to you, do you got a sec, you're also saying yes to that would be okay to ask the questions. So that intro there, and I've tested hundreds of intros. I've also split tested single words. We have split tested scripts across
This
teams.
is a science.
I measure.
You're a sales scientist, my friend.
Everything, right? So that opener will get you anywhere from a 50-60% take rate of people going, all right, sure, go for it. Right? They're not like enthusiastic. They're not like, oh my God.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. It's like I said, shoot. I literally had that with the CTO. He's like, shoot. He was like a Louisiana guy, a little accent. And so I think something to note too, though, is people, even if you do it right, people can still hang up.
For sure. And that's
right?
50-60. If you can get 50-60% of the people you cold call to let you ask questions, you're winning.
Yeah.
Like, you are all, that means if I get 10 people on, 5 of them go like, sure.
Yeah.
Go for it. Cool. I got 5. Right. So now the key here, I'll do it again live, just in here, is the tone. So we call it the lost in the city tone. I have tones in my scripts. It's quite literally labeled lost in the city.
Wow.
Because one of the same things called tonal congruence, where tone transfers. So if you sound excited, sometimes it can make other people excited. If you sound sad, if you sound melancholy, it brings people down. So our goal on a cold call is to build curiosity. So how should I sound? Curious. It's the uncertainty that actually pulls people in. So hey, Chris, this is KD over at Finally. Actually, I was just on your website, and I was hoping to ask a couple quick questions to see if it's even worth a larger combo. Would that be okay? Do you got a sec?
I love that.
It just pulls people in.
Honestly, if I heard that it's really good, man, because I get my own people cold call me. That's just a world of a difference better.
Right. This is
like, who is this guy?
Exactly. It's a bit like,
whoa.
It's like, Sure. It just pulls people in. Whereas oftentimes, again, like people teach different things, but like, people are taught to like call it enthusiasm. You can't actually do that very well when the person doesn't know you. It actually pushes them away. Hey, Chris KD over at Finally. You're like,
what a
Jesus,
difference.
Like, who is
Dude,
this?
what did you literally, if I'm with you now, but I would have thought that was a different person, even visually. Like,
it's different, that pull.
Like, because we don't have the visual to go off of in cold calling.
You have to pull people in with your tone, right? I think that the data says, when it comes to words in person, tone makes up, I think, is it 50-60% of the word? 30% is body language. The rest is the actual word you use. Over the phone, you don't have body language. So 90% of the meaning of the word and the language comes from the tone. No one ever talks about tone. They never practice the tone. That's what we're practicing. Anyone can read. I hope y'all can read. You practice the tone.
Did you see Dumb and Dumber when he's reading the word the?
Like, you practice the tone, and that's where I think it's so funny. People will feel all certain types of way about scripts. They say, "Oh, scripts make me sound robotic," and I gotta be like, no, a script doesn't sound anything. Script's on a piece of paper. You sound robotic. You ever seen a movie? A TV show? Listen to a song on the radio? All of them are scripted. No one walks out of a movie and goes, I could tell that was scripted. No one watches Taylor Swift's concert right now and goes, oh, I could tell that was scripted. No, it's our job to make the script come alive. That's what we are here for. And most sellers, they don't. They're winging it. They don't actually treat it, right? Repeatable. I'll use another baseball analogy. They change their swing every other game. Try to find something new versus mastering the swing they have.
If you're someone who's trying to strategically build your six-figure tech sales career, maybe you're trying to break into tech sales for the first time, but you don't know where to start, you're struggling to get interviews, or you get to interviews, but then you just fall a little bit short, or you're a current SDR that's trying to figure out how to crack the outbound code, you're trying all these tactics, but they're not working, and you want to figure out how to hit your metrics and get promoted to account executive as quickly as possible, then you might want to consider my Tech Sales Accelerator programs that are designed to help you win at every stage of the tech sales game. From breaking in as an SDR at a top company making $80,000 to $100,000 plus, to mastering outbound as an SDR and getting promoted to account executive faster than your peers, and then eventually stacking six-figure years as an account executive to exit the tech sales game on your terms after you've built the financial capital, connections, sales skills, and self-development to go further into anything you want to do tomorrow. And that's exactly what I did myself. And our programs are a bit different than what you might see out in the market because, one, it's based on my proven experience over 10 years in tech sales, getting into Oracle, a top company, getting promoted from SDR to account executive at Oracle, then landing a dream job at Google Cloud where I got promoted from inside sales to field sales at 26, and then joining a Korean startup as the second founding US seller where I won a company record 30 new logos and walked us in the door to billion-dollar accounts. We've had a ton of success stories so far, like Alex, who we helped break into Snowflake, one of the best data companies in the world. He became number one of 130 SDRs, and then eventually we helped him get promoted to an external account executive role at Confluent, where he was making $195K on-target earnings. And then there's Carmen, who landed a $200K on-target earnings role in 1 month. Andrew, who in his first quarter at Oracle became number one of 30 on his team, blowing out his quota at 267%. And Ryan, who became the top cold caller as an SDR at Google Cloud, who now has gotten promoted externally to a Google Cloud partner and just closed $3 million in revenue this past year, and he's making deep six figures. If you're trying to strategically build your own six-figure career, whatever stage of the journey you're at, consider booking time with our team at my Calendly link linked in the description of this video to hop on a call and chat through your goals in our program and how we can specifically empower what you're trying to accomplish. Or you can just check out my free proven cold calling system linked in the description of this video so you can win on the phones. All right, let's get back to the show.
You know, I heard a story about Babe Ruth that was in the bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, they're down by 3, and I think a grand slam would win the game, and he gets up to the batter's box, he whiffs on the first pitch, like, horribly, he almost falls over, then he whiffs on another pitch and literally does kind of fall over. He gets back in the batter's box, calm, cool, and collected. He hits a grand slam, long story short. And the reporter afterwards was asking him, like, wow, you didn't sweat. Like, you clearly, like you weren't nervous? And he said, hey, I trust in my swing, and I know just it's a law of averages, and the pitcher's the one who should be afraid. And I don't know if that's the exact story, but I think it's what you said of, like, don't change your swing. You need to trust in your swing, right? Is that somewhere on the right path?
So as a baseball player, did you ever see the Frank Thomas, Alex Rodriguez, and Pete Rose interview?
No.
Oh, okay.
Dude,
So,
okay, I'll have to check that out.
So Pete Rose, if you're not a baseball fan, Pete Rose, arguably one of the best hitters of all time in Major League Baseball, most hits of all time in Major League Baseball, you know, got in trouble for gambling.
Yeah,
totally separate story.
But we can isolate the performance with
one of the best hitters of all time. And he is, they're doing an interview. It's Alex Rodriguez and Frank Thomas, also two phenomenal.
Yeah, Frank the Tank, right?
Big Hurt.
Oh, Big Hurt. Oh, yeah. Wait, Frank the Tank's from a movie.
That's
I think was like,
right
oh shit,
that's old school.
Big Hurt. Thanks.
Okay. So,
keep me honest.
So they're asking, like, how, basically the question was, how do you get out of a slump? How do you get? This is two of the best hitters of all time asking the best hitter of all time, how do you get out of a slump? And what he says, well, the first thing you don't do is change your swing. Your swing is what got you to the majors. Your swing is what they're paying you for. So what happens? People get into a slump, so they change their swing. It's like you never change your swing. You choke up. You choke down. You step back in the box. You step forward in the box. You pick one pitch and one. You're going to swing like every pitch is a fastball, but you're not going to change your swing. Sellers do that all the time. They use that opener and someone hangs up on them. So what do? That opener doesn't work. So then try another opener and that one gets hung up on. So, well, that one doesn't work versus no. Let it work for you. If you change your swing every single time, you don't know what works. You don't even know. And then you need to listen to people that have, one, not only taken thousands of swings, but also I get to watch tens of thousands of swings. I get to see what's really working out there. I get to watch and see, okay, this is working better over here, even more so than just me doing it. There's certain things you can do that other people can't do. There's certain things I can do on the phone that other people can't do. I'm not looking to replicate me. I'm looking at what is the most repeatable way for my people to succeed. And I capture that, then I document it, and then we practice the living daylights out of it. My team practices every day. Every day, my team practices this every day.
It's so encouraging to know that, like, failure is an inherent part of sales, baseball, and just to accept that when we fail, it doesn't mean what you're doing isn't it doesn't have the potential to be effective. Stick with it and just accept this is the nature of the game. So again, I've been doing this live cold calling. I've been hung up on now, like, because I'm doing it every Friday afternoon cold calls, and it's been fun. But I'm getting hung up on, like, a good amount, and yet I'm also then bouncing back and setting meetings, and it's just even encouraging to me, like, this is a part of the process,
right?
But let's not change things up. So now, once this video drops, what's fun is I get to watch the game tape, and I'm going to be implementing what you've shared, and I encourage the audience to do that too. So as we round out the cold calling piece, I don't know that, I set a timer for us, and I know you have a hard stop, so we'll see what we can get to. But any other insight around how you framed? It seems like you framed a couple relevant challenges. You got me to pinpoint one. Just walk us through the rest of the call to close out cold calling.
So once I get the yes to the, hey, can I ask some questions? Say yes. Hey, thank you. It's one of the most important questions, not only on a cold call, but also in discovery, which will be a good segue, which I called the bucket question.
Let's go there next.
Right. I called the bucket question. And so the way it worked was I said, I speak with VPs all day. Okay, so first that we're just setting the tone. I speak with VPs of sales all day. I speak with finance leaders all day. I speak with, there's a little bit of social proof there, but this is what I do.
Yeah.
Second line, they all seem to be struggling with. Now this is very, very important because no one wants to admit they're the only ones with a problem. But when I say they all seem to be struggling with, what I'm creating is a safe space to admit maybe not everything is perfect. I'm using reverse social proof. Well, if other people have a problem, I might have that problem too. So I'm doing reverse social proof. Hey, they all seem to be struggling with, and then I hit with the 3 biggest problems that my product solves. Most reps actually don't know what problems their product solves. They know the benefits. They don't know the problems that it solves. So they all seem to be struggling with connect rates are low. Reps are not picking up the phone, pipelines decreasing. So I'm leading with the 3 most common problems. And this is also like, it removes like the BS where they can't really deny it. We know these are problems. We know. So it's not, we know these are problems. Does that sound like your world, or are you seeing that too? Does that resonate at all? Or did y'all already clean all that up?
So good. So good.
So that's called a blow up, where you present the perfect alternative. Now I have an alternative of choice, perfection or problem. So if place that's perfect, they're going to say, well, no, I mean, we see that a bit. All right. I already have agreement to a problem in one question. The next question after that, when you play this back, was, okay, and you gave me the number one. You said connect rates. That, okay, so if connect rates are a challenge, then again, I gave leads. So they're not getting enough people on the phone, not getting enough meetings. What's that causing? When you throw out the most common things, it guides the conversation where you're trying to go. Because we have to remember, from a buyer, were they expecting this call?
No.
Were they thinking about these problems?
No.
Do they know where this call is going? Whereas when you throw things out, the example I always give about relationships, right? If I go home, tonight after work, and I go to my wife and say, hey, babe, where do you want to go to dinner? How's that going to play out? What do you want to eat?
Yeah, she's going to want you to decide.
What do you want to eat? And I was like, I don't know. What sounds good to you? It's just the never-ending story in relationships. Versus, hey, where do you want to go grab food? We could do the Italian spot. We haven't done sushi in a while. We could order in. Versus, like, where?
Love this.
What sounds good?
You smooth operator.
You're going to narrow down the focus. So I learned this from Sharon Pearson. Shout out Sharon Pearson. Yeah. Australian woman, made this course called Ultimate Influence. It's one of my favorite courses. Influence. Like, it's phenomenal. And she calls it the illusion of choice, where I'm not forcing you to pick from those, but it's like you're just throwing them out. Like, connect rates down, people not talking to people, meetings are harder. Like, what are you seeing? I'm not forcing you to pick those, but by throwing them out, it helps guide your thinking of like, well, yeah, no, that is actually happening a little bit. So the leads, whereas a leading question is, so meetings are tougher now? That's a leading question.
People don't want to be trapped. It's like, it's like, I want to resist that.
Exactly. You push someone into a corner, they're going to push back. Whereas I'm pulling people in. It was like, I mean, this, that, the other. I mean, what
or is everything perfect?
Right?
You threw that out too.
They go with it. So it navigates it so much easier. It makes the conversation easier, because also that's how we talk in real life. We throw out leads all the time in real life. Where do you want to go? We could do this. You could do this. What do you want to drink? You want a marg? You want wine? You want water? That's how we talk. Cold call should sound the same way. So that's the same question in discovery I ask. Same idea is, what problems are they focused on? Then I narrow down to the number one problem. Then it's, what is that problem causing? Then is, what would the perfect world look like after it? Why haven't they fixed it yet? That's what sets up everything else to go into the demo.
Yeah. And the way you close the cold call, you confirm that I got the invite. Obviously, you confirmed a specific time, but you volunteered some times for me to choose, which made it easier. Yeah, you confirmed I accepted it. You locked it down. And so we just locked down cold calling. Let's go to discovery.
Can I touch on one quick thing I did at the end there that I want people to catch? Is when, this is again, difference between seller and buyer. When does the SDR want to book the meeting?
When does the SDR? Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd assume as soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
When did I ask for the meeting?
You never. Oh! You asked for Thursday or Friday, and today's
next Thursday.
Or
Friday.
Good call
Next
out.
Thursday.
Good. Hey, I'm glad you called this out.
I want to call this out because SDRs, and you've made a ton of calls, so you know how this actually plays out. What do you think my tomorrow looks like?
It is swamped.
What do you think Thursday looks like?
Yeah.
Friday looks like. So what happens, I hear this all the time, an SDR will have them. They're right there. They're interested. They're like, yep, let's do a meeting. And the SDR goes, great. How's tomorrow look? And the prospect almost always says the exact same thing. They go, ooh, tomorrow. Actually, you know what? Why don't you send me an email? You broke the trance. You made it hard for them to say yes. How's tomorrow look? Tomorrow looks awful. Now we're in this weird back and forth versus how's next Thursday or Friday look? I want the yes first. The odds of getting a yes to 7 to 8 days out is significantly higher than getting a yes to tomorrow. The other beauty of that is that how's next Thursday or Friday? Like, oh yeah, Friday at 3. If we were doing that for real, once I had you confirmed there, you do the pullback. Okay, great. I got you for Friday at 2:30. Actually, do you have anything earlier than that?
Oh, wow. I've never done that.
Now I'm not risking the meeting. I already got the Friday at 2:30, so that meeting's no longer at risk. Now I can say, actually, do you have anything sooner by chance? Actually, yeah, I could probably do Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh.
I didn't risk the Friday meeting, and I pull it back. I can get it earlier.
That is, I've never heard that, man. You're
all
dropping
sorts of
bombs,
stuff.
dude. You have just really inspired me to go to a whole different level of like just mastering this science that is sales.
It's
like, dude, you have been such a student of the game. You are like a high performance athlete, man. And I love that you're encouraging the audience to apply those concepts of high performance in sports to sales. So, again, I don't know when this timer is going to go off, but let's keep rolling to get what we can. So discovery, let's just go into that. I had questions for you on how to succeed as an AE, first time AE, but obviously this is a fundamental new skill set and maybe we just get into the value. How do you kick off maybe there's prep for a discovery call, then there's executing the intro and whatever.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start with discovery?
We'll start with the prep. It's getting all the Googleable questions out of the way. You should never be asking questions in discovery you can Google. How long they've been there, how many people on their team, what the company does, what their role is, who their team is. So this is always a big one where people say, so who else should we get involved? No. You should be suggesting who gets involved.
Yes.
So I know Jake is the CRO over there. Can we bring him in next? You need to be name dropping.
Yes.
People.
Yes.
So very powerful when it comes to language and persuasion. It's the 2 C's, correct or confirm. If you say something wrong, people can't help but correct you. And if you say something right, they love to confirm that they knew what you were talking about is right. So if I say, so I see Jake's the CRO over there. Most companies, that's the next step. They get them involved. Like, can we get them involved? Either they're going to correct me. Actually, no. Jake doesn't even handle any of this. Or they say, yeah, no, that would make more sense. So get all the Googleable questions out of the way ahead of time. Who they are, who their higher up is, and maybe one person underneath them in terms of that. What their company does, what their role is, how long they've been there, how many people on the team. Get all that.
I have to say, I had a discovery call with a big $1 billion company. And I guess in this case, I didn't make this mistake, but I learned from a past call where my boss was on the call. I asked someone on the call, the prospect, how long they'd been there. And after he's like, dude, you should never ask that. You need to. So I just want to emphasize that point. Now, the big one, I was ready and I knew those things, but that like little things like that really add up. So
because I still get on discovery calls, people ask me that question. How long have you been there? So Katie, tell me a little bit more about how long have you been at Finally now?
you're wasting time asking that and also showing like, oh,
you didn't do any research.
You're not doing your homework. So,
So one, prep. Again, now with AI, that's so fast. That is so fast. You can build the prompt out on this.
Okay, shoot, man. AI is a whole different thing. That's for a future podcast. But like, just maybe a quick nugget on what prompt do you do? Is it with ChatGPT for research?
So if I'm doing a ChatGPT research, it's funny enough. The easiest way to do a good prompt is to talk it out, not write it out. Talk it out. So I go pull up, I call it Chucky. Chucky is what I call ChatGPT. Like Chucky, I'm gonna go talk to Chucky real quick. Say Chucky, I got a call coming up with Chris. He's the VP of sales over at SuperBiz. I would like to know what SuperBiz's industry is, what their primary use case is, who they sell to. I'd also like to know how long Chris has been there, maybe one previous role, and if you could find out who is the VP or CRO at the company, and if there's any other managers around there, and what the total company headcount is for that company, please grow to get that for me.
Boom.
Talk it out. Goes and gets it, brings it back, and then you can narrow down even further. Based off what you learned about SuperBiz, could you put together 5 to 7 specific use cases of our product that you think would be applicable to them? And if you're doing enterprise, I want you to read their 10K. I want you to read any recent blog posts by the CEO, any interviews by the CEO to get a gist of what they care about so I can bring that together. So that would be a prompt you could use.
Beautiful.
To prep for the call.
So you're ready for the call. How do you how do you structure the intro of the call?
So very, very simply, if, hey, how's it going? A little bit of very minimal small talk at the beginning, very minimal. I say, hey, well, the goal of the call. So I state the goal. I'm hoping to learn a few things about your business today to make sure we only show you the things that matter to you. So this is a primer. I'm going to ask you questions to make sure I'm only showing what matters to you. Now they're getting something out of these questions. Most buyers, they get on there and they're getting discovered. No buyer ever has opted in for a discovery call. We don't want to be discovered. We want to get into the product. So I'm asking questions in a way that says, hey, you're going to benefit from me asking these questions. So I only cover things that matter to you. Would that be okay? Yes. Great. And based off those questions, if we have time, maybe we could get into pricing or into a couple of our feature sets at the end here, depending on how the call goes. Is that all right? Now I'm also taking some of those unspoken objections where if they're wondering about price the whole time, they're not listening to me. Yeah. Where if I stay, and by the way, we'll get into price at the end, depending on how this call goes. Now it's like, okay, that's shelved. Can go there, or we can talk about getting next steps scheduled, etc. So I'm seeding the next steps. Then I'm going into my bucket question. So I got permission to ask. I'm going right into the bucket question. Now, if they already answered that on a cold call, then I'm restating it. So when we spoke, you mentioned XYZ was a number one problem for you. Is that still accurate? Did anything pop up since we last spoke? Yes, that's it. All right, cool. Let's unpack that a little bit further. Now I'm going into my impact questions. What is that causing for you? What are you seeing because of that? What is that preventing you from doing right now? So I'm getting into the problems and the pain of that. Then I'm getting into, so like, how have you tried to solve it before? What's prevented you from solving it before? Okay, now I've got that. Then I flip to the better future of, so what would you want this to look like? Like, what would that allow you to do? If we get more meetings on your AE's calendars, like what would that allow for? What would change in your org? Well, X, Y, and Z. I said, oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we might be able to do this for you. Like, let's dive in here. I'm going to show you how it can solve X, Y, Z for you, produce A, B, C for you. And if you like what you see, we can talk about next steps. Does that sound good? I actually think reps oftentimes, this goes against a lot of what gets taught, ask too many questions in discovery. You need to save some of those questions for the demo. The best time to ask about where you're sourcing data is when I'm about to show you where we source data from. So the next part of this, I'm going to show you how we source data to make sure your connect rates aren't 2-3%. So before we do into that, tell me, like, how are you sourcing data right now? So now we get to play the recency comparison game. You're about to tell me your busted process. You're about to see my awesome process. Now next to each other, it's so clear which one is better. Whereas if you asked me my data question 25 minutes ago on the call, and now you're showing me data, the recency bias isn't there. You want some of those questions closer to when you're actually showing the thing. So I'm sprinkling those questions throughout the demo, not all asking them all front, because that also makes it more engaging. Most sellers, their favorite check-in question is, does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm guilty of it, man.
And it gives us nothing. Whereas what we teach, they're called BLCs, benefit-laden check-ins. So we teach this concept of make them hold it. So if you've ever traveled internationally or gone to like a bazaar, you walk through that market, they're trying to get you to hold that thing, that scarf, whatever, because if they get it in your hand, like they're not.
Yeah, I was in Spain, man, and this grandma that seemed so sweet. She's like, she spoke Spanish. I speak some Spanish. She's like, basically, bless you. Here's this thing, and I'm like, thank you so much. And then she's like, money, and I was like, what the? And then she went sour when I didn't want it.
Absolutely,
it was crazy.
She's a pro. She knows.
I was more likely to buy it. I didn't.
Once it's in hand, it's very, very hard to get it back. So make them hold it questions or questions that get them picturing the usage of your product. So instead of asking, does that make sense? You're asking, so how would you set this up? What data would you want on this dashboard? Where would you prioritize this? Which team would you put on this first? How would you connect this? I'm asking, make them hold it questions where they actually picture the using of the product, and then BLCs or benefit laden check-ins. And so then what would that let you do? How much faster is this than what you have right now? How would this allow you to? I'm getting them to tell me the benefit of what I just showed them, not me. This is going to be so much faster for you versus I show it to you. How much faster is this than what you're doing right now? They tell me, oh, this is a lot faster. Okay. All this is setting up the next steps where I can say, so you told me this was faster. You told me this was a little bit more streamlined. You told me this would let you get more people on the phone. I mean, we gotta make this happen for you. Now we're going into the closing process, or whatever that deal management process looks like.
Okay, and you've gathered all of the ammunition that they've framed from their own perspective, where they're bought in and they see the reasons to move forward. You have context to make your demo more tailored and continue to progress in the sales cycle, whatever that looks like from a company to company basis. Because like a SaaS solution to HR is different than a SaaS solution to sales versus a cloud infrastructure solution. So, and those are the nuances for maybe another conversation. But I'll check the time real quick just to manage, because you're a busy guy. But I'll frame up a question as I check, and it's if someone's a first-time AE, they're going to need to soak in what you just shared. Write out their own frameworks, but actually practice and role play at discovery to develop that skill. Are there other key skills that are going to be critical for them to develop as they take the leap from an SDR who hasn't closed, now trying to be a successful AE?
One of the biggest ones I don't think it's talked about enough is, I'll say, like the multi-threading and the follow-up. When you're SDRing, it's a one-to-one. It's hand-to-hand combat. You get one person on, you book that one meeting with that one person. When you get into the selling, depending on the size of the deals that you're selling, there's going to be 7 people involved.
Yes.
17 people involved. Like,
you're right.
It's insane.
It's a lot.
It's where a lot of SDRs miss, is they just keep working with their point of contact versus how do you get to that next level in the conversation? What does your follow-up look like? Is your follow-up providing value? Is your follow-up talking about the problems, or is it talking about the product? The follow-up has to be about the problems. And so the deal management process is where I see a lot of SDRs who get to AE struggle, is they're not used to, funny enough, having to follow up. It was always, I got you on the phone, or you responded to my email, you booked the call, and that was kind of it. The calendar invites go out. That follow-up process, nurturing that deal, it's crucial. So a really, really good book on this is The Challenger Customer. The follow-on book from The Challenger Sale, which is hilarious because everyone, so many people have read The Challenger Sale, and it was like, and they think they understand it. Most people don't understand it, but they call it a challenger. I'm a challenger seller. No, you're not. You don't understand what it means. Their second book, Challenger Customer, significantly better than The Challenger Sale.
I haven't read it.
Most people haven't, and that's what's hilarious. Is like, it's better. It's so much better. But everyone read The Challenger Sale.
Maybe the marketing was just so good for
Challenger
that first one.
Customer. Well, think about your market. Challenger Sale speaks to a seller.
Yeah.
It's in the title. Challenger Customer. Seller, we think about it.
Oh, gosh.
It is so much better than the first one.
Wow.
And like how to find mobilizers, how to get your deal mobilized across like a company. So Challenger Customer is one of my first books I recommend to a new AE. Funny enough, my first 2 to an AE is Gap Selling and Challenger Customer. The first 2 books I give to an AE. Yeah. Those ones right there teach you like how to open, how to discover, and how to navigate a deal properly. Those 2 are just gold together.
Yeah, you remind me of a recent deal that I'd been working on for over a year with an enterprise customer, a technology platform, and I'm selling like cloud optimization services, like save money on AWS, for example. And then the head of engineering became my champion, where he was coaching me on the other key personas, what they cared about. They had some objections, but I like worked with him to understand them and leverage him to sell for me internally. Right. And to your point, I mean, there was at least like 5 players, but as you said, there could be like 10 plus.
There are 5 that you know about.
Yeah, you're right. There's more players. There's more players.
On a deal that size, that large, I promise you that's in the double digits. There's just 5 that you know
That's a good
about.
point.
Like, if sellers understood the buying process for more of these and how many deals end because of a 3-minute conversation in a meeting, if they understood that's how many deals just get killed, actually, so I was looking to bring on this, new product. You do X, Y, and Z. Like, what do you think about that? And the CRO goes, I don't know. How much does it cost? Like, well, it's like $80,000 a year. No, we don't have the budget for that.
Yeah.
And that's where it ended. If sellers understood, like, that's how a lot of deals die, is from a 90-second conversation. They change how they try to sell. They would work with that champion better. They would coach that champion better. They'd record videos for them to send. They'd create cheat sheets for them. Like, all of that stuff, most sellers just don't do.
You know what? Deals can die, as you said. I think you said in a 90-second conversation.
90 seconds.
And I have had some serious losses in my career. My biggest loss ever, I think back, legal killed the deal. Even though my head of Eng, because I mostly sold cloud platforms my whole career, the head of Eng was ready. The controller, the signatories, like a VP of finance, was ready to sign. And legal shut us down, and it happened when we were not in the room with them. And so, speaking of shutting down, not to be a somber note, but like, hey, as we heard, you know, you're going to get hung up on cold calls, you're going to lose big deals, but still be able to succeed gloriously, especially applying what we've learned from you today. So I know I looked at the timer; we're about to hit time. I just want to make sure the audience understands how they can find you. Which one, guys? Connect with Katie, follow him on LinkedIn. He puts out great content, and that's linked in the description. But you've got this course for SDRs, you've got AE courses, you've got courses for leaders. So I just want to know all the things that you have available, and they'll all be linked in the description. And then after that, some final words of information. But let's start with, what do you got for the people?
I mean, follow me on LinkedIn. I put a lot of content out there. I have a course for AEs out there with Leveled, and on my own program, Live Better, Sell Better, I have a sales leadership program because leaders don't get anything.
Yeah, I see that on your banner, man. It's looking good.
So that's a fun one there. I have a course on Udemy. I have a prospecting masterclass. So like a lot of it you can find either through my LinkedIn or on my website, you know, salesleadershipaccelerator.com. But, you know, I just encourage people to invest in themselves anywhere. Like, obviously listening to things like this gets people started, but like, take it serious, y'all. Go get the books, go buy the courses, invest in yourself. Like, it pays off. It always does. It always pays off.
Yeah. Hey, this has been an amazing conversation, man.
Oh.
And guys, invest in yourself. As Katie says, it pays off. Katie, thank you for being here, man. You shared generously. I don't know how long it took to wrangle you in, but I had to prospect you, and I think even multi-threaded with Jake Dunlap and other people to ping you. I don't know if it was a year. It could have been less, but so glad we finally made it happen. This is amazing. And to the audience, thanks for showing up, guys, and investing in your personal and professional development to your success in tech sales and in life. Happy selling and happy living, and we'll see you in the next one.